And you know the difference between, in my eyes at least, the difference between real estate investors and business owners and somebody who went to college and goes and gets a job, which again, there's nothing wrong with. It's just not for me. The difference is risk. It's risk appetite. It takes risk to start a business. It takes risk to take on debt to invest in real estate. It doesn't take risk to show up to your job that you fucking hate to make $65,000 a year and have your, boss slap you on the ass and we'll see you in Vegas and here's your $10,000 bonus after 10 years. There's no risk there. So either stay in the pocket and don't play risky or take calculated risks, do the thing, start the business, invest in real estate and see where it ends up.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, I got a special guest and I'm very excited because he drove down from Newport Beach. We got a repeat guest, someone who's making big waves, doing big things in the real estate space at all levels. I got my man, Blake Rocha. Blake, welcome back to the show.
Well, how we doing, Rich?
Dude, doing so freaking good, man. It's been a minute since we've caught up, man, and things are good. We're rocking and rolling. This is a year of learning for me, and as we kind of approach the end of the year, I'm doing a lot of reflecting right now and getting clear on what the target is for next year, man. But I see all the moves that you've been making, dude. I see all the success. I'm sure that you got a lot of wins and losses under your belt for this year. And, it's cool to think like 6 months ago, 12 months ago, we all look back. I'm sure you know this better than I do. We look back and we see the fucking growth. When I see content from a year ago, I'm like, oh, it makes me cringe. When I see like what I was doing a year ago in terms of like what my baseline, my standard was, makes me cringe because every 2 months I'm resetting the bar and then I level up and that's the new baseline. And I'm sure you see that too.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I try my best to look at everything like it's a lesson and not a loss. And when I look at old content or I look at the properties that I started with from an investing standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a content standpoint, I'm like, I really was doing it like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't believe that this is how we're moving now, but I wouldn't have known that unless I'd gone through, the mistakes. I had seen the big wins. The good thing about doing the social media stuff is we have metrics to track a lot of the times, as well as with real estate, to see like, what am I doing that's working and what am I doing that's not working, and be able to in real time take action but again, you wouldn't know unless you
Unless you did it. This game is about the reps. It's about the at-bats. That's how Kobe Bryant became Kobe Bryant. That's how Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan. But one thing I was just thinking about when you mentioned like the social media thing, we're both very active on social. One of the things that no one talks about is like when we're old one day, we have all those videos to like go back and like watch old memories and like reminisce about what we used to do. Like, I can't imagine not having all those like videos and like memories just kind of like stockpiled,
Yeah, 100% agree. So, do you remember when you were a kid? Maybe it was different for me, but when I was a kid, my parents had these VHS tape recorders where we'd go back and watch ourselves growing up.
Yes.
So you're 17 years old, and it's the first time seeing yourself running around open up Christmas gifts when you were 4, 5, 6 years old. The best decision that I made this year was starting my YouTube channel because the style of video that I wanted to do was I was only seeing people in like the fashion industry do it, there's a lot of the day in the life stuff out there, but not like a true week in the life or a month in the life of capturing real heavy moments. So I didn't come into it with a plan of, hey, let me sit down and give you the top 10 reasons why you should invest in Airbnb, or hey, here's the top 3 steps to get rich when you're 18 years old. Spoiler alert, all the BS clickbait stuff. What I did was I just kept that camera on me. Kept the camera on me. And there was a moment this year that was a really, really low moment in my life. It was I was dealing with depression. For the first time in my life, like I had spurts of what I thought felt like a depression, but this was like my health was out of whack. My hormones, come to find out my hormones were just all over the place. My business was not doing as well as I wanted it to. Had gone through a breakup. My friends weren't around anymore. And it seemed like my world was closing in. And I kept asking myself, why does it feel like I have everything and nothing at the same time? The one thing that I could have done was, on one end of the spectrum, I could have not filmed any of that and just kept going on social media and making it seem like everything was gravy, which is what 99% of people do. And that's fine. Maybe, putting on that facade or that front would have helped. But what I did was I set the camera up. And I sat in my car and I teed this camera up and I called my dad. And I called him, I said, I'm at the lowest fucking point of my life right now. And I was bawling. And I recorded an hour-long conversation with my dad who gives fantastic advice. And over that month, I just kept filming and filming and filming. And what came together was this video that's maybe 30 minutes long, where it's me, going through this struggle and little by little, 1% better, like every day, going to the gym, finding my consistency again, figuring out how I want to, handle my investments, rebuilding my my relationships and my friendships. And what came together was this video that, maybe has 12 or 14,000 views. It was the most important video that I've ever made for myself to be able to look back on, to be able to show my kids. And the amount of people that have messaged me about the video that has less views than any Instagram reel or post that I've ever made that said, hey, thank you for sharing this. It's impacted me in a way that you'll never fucking understand. It means everything to me, especially when we're at,
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing that resonates with me there, and by the way, no one wants to ever go through what you just mentioned, but I'm glad that you're in a better place.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you use it as motivation to improve. Because I think a lot of people, they get into a situation to where they go through some struggles, they go through some challenging times, their wife leaves them, they go through a divorce, they lose their job, they lose all their money, whatever it is. Life fucking happens. And I think a lot of people will continue to allow things to continue to pile up, one bad thing after the other. But what you did was the opposite. You used it as inspiration, you used it as motivation, you used it as a driver to get better and to get out of it. And I always say this, life gets overwhelming, life gets challenging before the level up. It happens to me every single fucking time. And every time I get overwhelmed, every time I get challenged, I have to remind myself, because I know this lesson. It's happened to me at every single level. And I always have to remind myself, hey, lean into it, because the level up is about to happen. You dig, your back is against the wall, and you do things that you never thought were possible, and you figure it out. And then you pop in, a new door gets unlocked, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this is the new baseline. And you're a better version of yourself. You have more confidence for the next time this happens. But I love that you actually pushed through and you figured it out.
Yeah, there's and I haven't shared this before, but I think it's something important. So I'm religious, I'm Christian, and I was dealing with, at the same time that all this stuff was happening, I was dealing with a lot of struggle with my faith and figuring out where I stood with my relationship with Christ, and how it fit in with making all this money, and how much do I give away, and why am I not happy, and why is this happening to me, and should I even be complaining? My life is so good, in perspective. There's this mantra that I continue to say over and over and over in my head.
What's that?
I would say, and it's a verse from Psalms, and I would do it like this: be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. And I would do it over, over, and over again. And it was a meditation. It became a practice, and it became this mantra that I could go to as I was trying to build myself up, to remind myself to be present, to know that I'm making incremental changes and adding consistency to my life every single day, that was going to eventually get me back to a higher level than I'd ever been, and leaning on Christ to do so. So hopefully that can help somebody out there if they ever want to repeat a mantra.
I think for me, and I didn't learn this until I was, 36, 37 years old, but for me, happiness stems from growth and progress. So the second I stop growing, the second I stop progressing, the second that I'm no longer fulfilled. And so I guess I'm curious for you, looking back to the situation earlier this year, where you felt stuck, you were no longer happy, you were dealing with some depression that you alluded to. What was the biggest reason that you felt that way?
I think it's a culmination of what a lot of people don't talk about, which is hormones and food. So for me, I have my diet dialed in, but for the longest time, because I'm celiac, I have a lot of autoimmune diseases. I knew what it felt like to be really sick and to feel mentally like not right. My testosterone was low, and so a lot of people brush past the physical part of like why they feel so bad. Because if your hormones are all out of whack and somebody tells you that your dog died, you might cry, you might stay in bed for a week. Or if everything's dialed in, you're like, you know what, stuff happens, let me move forward. Maybe that's not the best example, but point being is, hormonally and like physically, there was issues going on. I was drinking and trying to run away a lot from this noise that was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times the noise is like, as a creative person, I compare content creation at some level, because that's what a lot, we do quite a bit, and it takes up a lot of our day, to being an artist in like the music industry. And so sometimes these guys put out one hit wonders and then they can't figure out how to put it out again. And so drinks, it's the drugs, it's can I recreate this? And so for me, there was so much noise all the time happening in my head from work, and the more little tasks that would get on my list that I wouldn't do, the more that I would want to on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night get fucked up, essentially to run away from that and hopefully deal with it later on. So I think it was a combination of stuff that was happening in my life with friends and a chick, drugs and alcohol, and then, the physical stuff. But there was no Band-Aid solution. Like I was thinking all this shit that I used to do when I was acting like a kid, essentially. Kid that has a lot of money, basically, because I wasn't 21 anymore, and I was acting like it. Same bars all the time, same people, same scene, same ways of dealing with problems that weren't actually ways of dealing with problems. I have responsibilities now, and I have a commitment to myself and to a lot of other people now that rely on me. And if I fuck up, it's a domino effect. And so I let that domino just keep sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding until you reach a point where you have two roads that are split in front of you. Either I just keep fucking up and excuse my language, but I just piss all of this away, and I see it. I see a lot of people do it. Or take steps day by day by day to try and get back to at least a baseline, and then see how far we can push this thing. And then so I made a decision that day to stop drinking, no drinks, no drugs. And since then, pairing the removal of alcohol and drugs.
You've been sober for how many days now?
40 something odd days, something like that, so which
today's day 100 for me.
That's amazing.
And congrats to you. It is the biggest life hack that nobody talks about. I think 99% of all problems, 99% of daily problems can be solved simply by eliminating drugs and alcohol and waking up at 5:30 in the morning.
I agree. And I would add
nobody talks about it.
I would add to that, get a Pilot G2 pen and a moleskin notebook, because that's what I use that all day, every day. You'll never see me without, obviously filming right now, but I always have my pen and paper and I just write.
We can get you a pen and paper right now, dude. All you gotta do is ask.
I can draw. I draw for you. Imagine inside of my thing, it's just all drawings.
Yeah.
But it's changed everything.
But that was deep what you said. You said, like, as we grow, we take on more responsibilities. There's more people that are relying on you. And where you steer the ship is going to dictate their future, right? And as we grow this thing, same thing for me. My team is growing. I got more investors. Everything is dependent on where I take this. And so I think if you're looking for some sort of accountability and you're lost and you're stuck, maybe you're looking for that thing, there's no better accountability than building something cool. Because the bigger you build it, the more people that are going to be relying on you to navigate their future. And there's no better motivator, there's no better form of accountability when you wake up every single morning knowing, hey, your decision-making, how you decide to spend your time, and oh, by the way, time is that only asset that we have that we don't know how much is left, right? And how we spend our limited amount of time left on this planet is going to impact a lot of lives out there. And so to me, I think that's the best form of accountability. That's very deep what you said, but I've been through it before, and I'm going to continue to go through it. I can feel it. And sometimes, bro, like, I don't know. I think for me, man, I realized early this year, I was like, I got as far as I could go under these conditions. And those conditions were, hey, I was going out, drinking 2-3 nights a week socially. And yeah, it's great. It's all fun. But I realized, like, in order to get to the next level, and I look at all these people that are ahead of me, and I look at them and I'm like, man, most of those people are like, they're not even drinking. They have families. They're in bed by 9:30 at night, every single night. They're very dialed. They're grinding. They're hustling. They're always dialed. And I just realized, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to get much further than I currently am under these conditions. And so something's got to change, and you got to sacrifice certain things, especially for seasons. And so that's what I did. And then I broke through to a new level.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And beautifully said. Yeah.
So anyways, I want to switch gears here, man. So something that you say, I've seen you put out videos on your social media about this. It resonates with me. My mom grew up in Taiwan. She's an immigrant. She knew the value of working hard and saving her money, and no one works harder than my mom. And so this definitely resonates with me. You talk about how your mom, for 35 years, woke up at 3:30 in the morning and did a lot of trading her time for money. She grinded, she hustled. And now you retired your mom and she works full-time in the real estate business. But talk about how your mom's transition over to real estate and all that has changed your life.
It was for literally 25 years of my life and 35 years of my mom's life, she woke up every single morning at 3:30 a.m., went to Costco and worked, and she did it so that she could come home for her lunch break to take us to school, and then by the time she was off work, she could pick us up from school and take us to soccer practice or wherever we needed to go. Her whole life, and knowing what I know now about sleep and how important it is, her whole life she's had no sleep. Her whole life she had no money. Her whole life she had no support. And so I knew that I owed it to my mom and my dad as well, but I owe it to them to become successful and to be the best version of myself, because they sacrificed everything. They sacrificed everything. And so how can they sacrifice everything and I can't return the favor? And by me, the way that I've returned the favor is my parents, they didn't have a ton of money, and they were every dollar was like, I remember every single birthday, like $100 bill would come, a check for the table for dinner. And I remember them thinking like, wow, that's so expensive. Are you guys sure? Like, we can only go to Tokyo Gardens one time a year because it's a $100 meal. And not to say that we were poor. I was, very middle class, and they just had goals for us. They wanted to be able to get us through college. They wanted to be able to help out. And so by the time that I knew that by the time I was 8, 9, 10 years old and started making money, I mean, I was always hustling and being an entrepreneur. I knew that my eventual goal was I need to get them in a place where they're not only set up for life, but they're happy and can live a fulfilled life. Open up a new chapter for them, because at this rate, they're not going to be able to do it themselves. And it's not a knock to them. It's not a knock to how hard they work or the people that they are. When you're in a job, when you have the security, when you have the insurance, when you have all these things lined up, it's hard to leave until I basically forced the situation. I said, Mom, now that I have 10 Airbnb properties and I've become a multimillionaire, and you let me come back into your house at 20 years, or where was I? I was 23 years old. Or 22, 23 years old, move back in, have nowhere else to go, don't have any money, start making money, become a millionaire, become a multimillionaire, buy 20 properties. And I'm like, I have saved and invested every dollar that I have, and now I'm in a position where I need a property manager. I'm going to pay you double what you're getting paid at Costco. Come here. I'd love for you to work with me and make my life easier, give you some fulfillment on this side of things, get paid. And it's changed my life, because I talk to my mom every day, no matter what. So now she's helping out. She has purpose through her children. My brother works on my sales team. My dad flies out and fixes all of the properties. I built a family business which only brought us closer, made my life easier, and made us a ton of money. And it's a fantastic way to look at retirement for your parents.
I've heard you say this before, where you say that the goal is not to retire parents, but instead the goal should be to build something cool with your family. What do you mean exactly when you say that?
I always get knocked online when I talk about building a family business or including your parents. It's like, oh, I wish I had it so good. I wish my parents, would want to do that. Look, not everybody's as fortunate to be in a position to where their parents want to be involved in what they do. My parents want to be involved in what I do. So the way that I look at it is this. I told my mom the first day and my dad the first day that I had enough money stashed away where I was like, you guys are never going to have to work again. Ever. Like, I can afford for you guys to live, unless you guys live for another 100 years, like, you're good. And I went to them and I was thinking, okay, this is the dream. You become retired, sit on the couch, kick your feet back. Man, a week into it, my mom calls me and she's like, dude, your dad is fucking killing me. He's killing me, so bored. And I'm like, no, of course they're bored, because when there's no purpose or fulfillment they have the gym, the surf, but then all this free time in the day, you've worked your whole life, and I want to work my whole life. So it's not about retiring and doing nothing, but finding and living a purpose-driven life. And so their purpose is us, my brother and I, as their children. And they want to be able to help out in the business. So by paying them to step into the business, makes my life easier, gives them purpose, and it's a win-win-win-win-win all around. So my whole idea is like, look, if you have parents that are supportive of you and want to be in your life and they're working a job that they don't like, get into a position where you can build a business with them or for them to step into, so that they can have a second chapter of their life where they're working closely with their children. You need to draw your boundaries as a son or as a daughter and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this as business people, and we're going to talk like this as family. And don't cross those wires. You cross those wires, that's when people are like, money, family, this and that. I trust my family. We've drawn our boundaries, and we built an amazing business.
I also think that like if you're building something, I always think like into my 60s, 70s, I want to still like Grant Cardone's been on the podcast. Grant's like 66, I want to say, and the dude's like he got a lot of juice left in the tank. He's just getting warmed up, and you talk to Grant and you can see it in his eyes. Like this guy is truly just getting warmed up at 66. Where I've had conversations with other 65-year-olds and they're ready to die, and the only difference is just the mindset. And so I imagine, with your parents, they probably anti-age a little bit, coming back and building this thing with you. Is that right?
Yeah. Can you talk about that more? Like, what do you mean by the mindset is the
So I'll
difference?
give you an example, man. Like, I at 33, I'm 39 right now. At 33, I was working a full-time air traffic control job, which I did for 11 years. It's a great career, but most people get into that career and they will do it for 25, 30 years. They'll retire. You get a pension when you retire. And after that job is done, a lot of folks would retire, and then a year later, 2 years later, they'd be dead because that was their only thing that they knew. Their only friends were in that air traffic control job, and so when they retired, they didn't. One, it was a very high stress job. Two, people are not very healthy in that job. They don't work out. There's a lot of you're sitting down all day. You're eating a lot of food. You're stressed out. The sleep schedule is all fucked up. You're working nights, weekends, holidays. And so you take into combination or consideration that's the highest stress job in America. You're not healthy while you're working out there, and you don't really have a social life because you're working nights and weekends for 30 years. And so people would leave that career, and within 2 years later, they would drop dead. Now, on the flip side, so I was 33, right? When I felt stuck. I didn't feel like I was growing, and I was like, dude, there's got to be more than life than just doing this. And I was seeing people retire. I'm like, I don't know if that's for me. And now, fast forward to now at 39, I'm 6 years older. But I feel like when I say like I'm just getting warmed up right now, I'm just getting started, like I truly mean that. Like my body feels very young. I feel like I've anti-aged over the last 6 years. If you look at photos of me from 6 years ago, I look younger today. And I think a lot of it, and I'm speculating. I'm always willing to be wrong. I'm speculating. I think the only thing that's changed is the mindset because I'm actually building something cool with people that I actually like to be around. And I'm moving the ball down the field every single day. I'm working towards a goal of mine every single day. I'm building something cool. And because of the growth and the progress, my mindset truly believes like I'm just getting warmed up. And so I think it's anti-aged me. Has this been the case with your parents?
Well, now that we've got a lot of properties, it's pretty stressful.
Dude, property management is
It's a lot, dude. I mean, and like most of my properties are like luxury properties. They sleep anywhere between 20 and 50 people. And so, I mean, you get families and churches and you get these groups that just destroy houses. But yes, I wholeheartedly believe that you're right. I think that you made an amazing point, a beautiful point about the mindset change and the mindset that shifts, mindset that shifts. Everything to me, I look like life looks like a book. And a lot of people think that the book looks like what you were talking about, working 30 years at a job that you don't love, to pay bills, to go home to a wife that you're not in love with still, and, watch TV, get drunk on the weekends, and then retire. And then you got 10 years to, what? Do what? 10 years to do what? There's that quote, I think it's from Abraham Lincoln or Benjamin Franklin. I can't remember exactly who it was. It says, most men die at 25, but we just bury them at 70.
Yeah.
And it's quotes like that and experiences like when I was 20 years old, a doctor told me I had a life-threatening liver disease. Said I would be dead by 35 years old. A misdiagnosis, but it was the first time that I had to deal with the idea of mortality, of death, thinking, have I lived a life worth living enough to, and will I continue to if I die at 35 years old? I had to think about it a lot. My dad, right when I started making a little bit of money and the business is going good, property's going fantastic, I get a call, Blake, I need you to come home. I was at my girlfriend's house. He never calls me and tells me to come home. I'm not, unless I was 14 years old. I'm 20 something at the time. I'm like, is everything good? He goes, just please come home. So I'm feeling sick and I'm thinking cancer or, you know what I mean? You get, that feeling.
Yeah,
like,
you're
or maybe
concerned.
the dogs died or like, what's going on here? Maybe his parents died. He sits me and my brother down. He says, Blake, I just went to the heart doctor. They did an MRI or some sort of, that scan that they do when women are pregnant. They rub that like gel over and you can see inside. He said, I have what's called a widowmaker.
What's that?
It's a something in your aortic valve is plugged, or it's essentially, they call it a widowmaker because you die in your sleep. And he goes, I need to have open heart surgery within the next 3 days. My dad's doesn't drink. He's 50 nothing at the time, in the best shape of anybody that I know. I mean, like CrossFit, like badass. And he's got to go in and have open heart surgery. Now, I didn't even want to Google the percentage of chance that you come out. I was praying and praying and praying that, he comes out safe. And I had this gut feeling like it's going to be okay. But again, he's having conversations with us about wills, about what happens if I don't come back, take care of your mother. When you have to think, most people just move through life and don't think about these things. They're not put in place to scare you. They're put in place to have you realize what's important in life. And the person that he is that's came out of this heart surgery has impacted me and a lot of other people in his life in a huge way, because you see his like zest for life now. You can see the things that he might have said no to in the past, that yes, now he says yes. Sure, I'll go fucking skydiving. I'm going to surf every day. Yep, I'm working out and I'm pushing myself. I'm flying out to Tennessee to fix these properties. I'm doing it because I don't know if I don't know when it's going to end. And it took an open heart surgery for him to realize that and for me to realize that. And so some of these things that are put in our lives as things that are, you would think are negative, now that he has a cow valve in his heart, are positives. Positives because they change your outlook on life.
Yeah, they do. It's all about perspective. And like I said at the top of the show, man, like time is the one currency we don't know how much is left. And I always say months is the best way to measure how much time we have left. Not years, but months is the best way to measure how much time we have left. I'm 39. Average life expectancy for a male in the U.S. is 77. I have about 450 some months left on this planet. And so when it comes time to making decisions, it makes it a lot easier for me to take action when I put it in that perspective. Like 450 months is going to go by like that. Like, think about that, right? It's going to go by like that. And so to think that like I'm going to like be scared to make a decision, or I'm going to be scared to take action, or I'm going to be scared to start this journey on whatever it is that I want to pursue. I don't care if it's real estate investing, or you want to start a business, or you want to start a side hustle, or maybe you just want to like put your kid through college. Like, the idea that I'm not going to take action on something that I want to do because I am concerned about, the thoughts and opinions of other people that are in my life or whatever the fuck, when I only have 450 months left, is mind-boggling, and it makes it a lot easier for me to take action.
You know what I think is bullshit?
What?
Legacy.
Why do you say that?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and you go and make, $500 million, and, you have 10 grandchildren. You got this big house, you got a vacation house, and you go they put a statue up of you at the school because you donated $100 million when you died. And then let's go 50 or 100 years in the future. Your name's on the building. People don't remember you. You're somebody's great-great-grandpa. Oh yeah, well, his great-grandpa started a business. They made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. It's a conversation.
That's it. So I just think it's a weird bullshit talking point that a lot of people use of like, I want to build a legacy. It's like, motherfucker, be selfish. Be selfish and selfless at the same time. For me, I'm making money for my children, for my parents, for the safety and security that I know that I want my kids to go to private school or be homeschooled. I know that I want to live exactly where I want to live. I have one life on earth and I want to live it to the fullest and be able to experience things. And that doesn't mean having to go make hundreds of millions of dollars and blow this thing out and fly PJs. But what it does mean is I'm going to go build what I want to build. I'm going to make as much money as I possibly can. I'm going to give it away to the causes that I feel are important to me, and move my money around in a way that gives other people energy and gives me energy. But I'm going to live a selfish life. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's all about me when I have a marriage and when I have kids. I selfishly want to help them. I selfishly want to make a better life for them because it makes me happy. But I don't care about fucking what happens in 200 years or my name being on a building or, it being in the history books. I just want to live a good life and build and have a good life for all the people that I love and care about.
Will you have kids? And if you do have kids, will you leave them money?
I've got 6 right now.
That you don't know
where they're at. No, I will have kids, and So I'm 27 years old right now. My mom's kind of hounding me already. Like, when are you gonna
Damn.
find a girl? Yeah, you know how
Okay.
it is, right?
And you're single.
I'm single.
You're
Yeah.
coming to the holiday event tomorrow night. There will definitely be plenty of high quality single ladies at the event.
Uh,
Or maybe you're a female listening to this podcast. My man Blake Rocha is single. Go check him out on Instagram at Mr.428. And there's no numbers in that handle, Mr.428 on Instagram. But will you leave money for your kids?
I think I will. I haven't thought about it enough, but I grew up in Visalia, California. It's a huge
Okay.
agriculture capital,
Yeah.
dairies, farms
Near Fresno.
near Fresno. And the wealthiest family that I knew that owned dairies, farms, a lot of land and trees and stuff, their kids would drive to school. They had they always have these big Dutch families, 8, 10, 12 kids. They were so wealthy, like so wealthy. And their kids would drive, all of them packed into one 2001 Suburban, packed in, and they all had to wake up at 4:35 a.m. to work on the dairy before they would go to school. And I'm like, you guys are 100 millionaires. I don't get it. And when I asked the dad one time when I came back into town and I had just started making a little bit of money and I was trying to understand, their kids turned out amazing. You know, they have an amazing family dynamic. None of the kids were like strays, you know what I mean? And kind of ran off and did crazy stuff. They just, great family, got married young. They're all having kids. But he didn't really give them anything. He would, if the one of them wanted to get started in the dairy industry, rather than taking over one of their big, dairies, he would give them a tiny little farm, enough to work with, and just say, like, you got to do this for 5 years. I still don't understand it necessarily, and maybe it's just me being young and not thinking about it enough. But he did tell me this one quote, or this idea about money and family and passing it on is like, if you're going to make a lot of money, skip a generation.
What do you mean when you said that?
I still don't know what he meant. I think that he meant, like, if you want to keep money in the family, and there's probably a lot of good stories out there as to why this would be true, you don't go give that money to your children. You give it to the grandkids. I don't.
Then you're kind of fucking the grandkids.
That's what I'm saying. So I need to, anybody that's listening to this, maybe do some research or leave a comment and try and figure out why.
I've heard of that, like living trusts that like skip generations, inheritance. I've heard of that kind of stuff. I don't understand the reason why, but I do know that, like, for me, I want to have 4 kids. I will not leave money for my kids, but I will teach them how to make money.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I'll leave. Yeah, I'll leave a little bit of money. They can play around. They can have some fun.
A little bit of fun. Yeah. But I mean, okay, there's a stat out there. It says wealthy families lose 70% of their wealth by the second generation and 90% by the third generation.
Maybe that's why they skip a generation.
So, yeah. And so you got to teach them how to make the money too.
Sure.
We bought a hotel in April. It was developed in 1988, 44 rooms up in Sonoma Coast, waterfront, wine country. This asset had never sold until this year. It stayed in the family since 1988. The father passed away 2 years ago. It always performed well until the father passed away. The son took it over. It started spiraling out of control. And so I say all this in that I think there's something to be said about teaching your kids how to make money, teaching your kids how to invest in real estate, teaching your kid how to start a business and to be a good custodian of money versus just handing them stuff.
Sure.
And that hotel is a good example of it.
Yep.
You know,
it's a great example.
So I don't know, but there's something to be said out there. So, all right, man. Next up, you put a lot of good content out on social media, and you got a lot of videos that really pop off on social. But one of the things that you mentioned, which I love now that we're talking about hotels, is you recently bought a boutique hotel earlier this year, and you put out a video on how you told your grandfather about that you just bought a boutique hotel. What was that feeling like? Talk about that.
Yeah, I called both of my grandparents, and then my grandma answered, and it was the day that the boutique hotel closed. So they're older. My grandma's suffering with dementia right now, and so they don't really understand the Airbnb thing. They don't have the phone. They don't have the app.
Yeah.
So it's hard to explain. But they understand a hotel, and it carries weight. You know what I mean? And I told my grandma, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna put your last name on this hotel." She was my grandpa was a custodian at the high school, and my grandma was the lunch lady for 50 years.
Damn.
And so she sees me getting better, happier, healthier. She hears from my dad about the family business and stuff. But that was me saying, "Hey, look what you've done. You raised an amazing, amazing son, which was my dad, and he's, done a good job, hopefully, of raising me. And I, I'm excited to like just share this with you that this is your, this is yours too.
Mm.
She's never going to see it, but I just knew that it
You want to take her
was.
there?
She doesn't fly. They're
Yeah,
older,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's just a
I
lot of
gotcha.
health issues
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. But yeah,
They'll see videos though.
yeah, video. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
seen videos and they're excited about it. But I just knew that that was something that she could grasp and that meant something to her. And it's cool, especially because the story behind the hotel's amazing. Like it's one of my favorite stories of how it was acquired, how I found it. It was a total like.
Where is it?
So it's in the Catskills in upstate New York.
Okay.
So about an hour and a half outside of New York City.
So you can get there relatively quick. You just take a nonstop flight to JFK, and then
Yep.
you're an hour
Bop
away.
out there. Yeah.
In New York City, there's a lot of cool stuff there. So I'm sure that would make a hotel visit weekend pretty exciting. So it's in upstate New York, and like, how did you find this deal? How did it come to fruition? Why did the seller sell it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the craziest story about buying a hotel ever. And maybe you have a better one, but this is mine. So I had this dream because I'm doing so much research on Airbnbs and investing. At this point, I already had, 14 or 15 Airbnbs. And I have thousands of students that I'm helping. And so I'm trying to figure out, where I want to invest. And I kept hearing about the Catskills. I go to bed one night and I have this dream about the Catskills. I've never even seen it or been there, but I have this dream that I own this like farmhouse style property in the Catskills. And I woke up and I was like, man, that was the most vivid dream I've had this year. Like, I remember the word Catskills. I remember exactly what it looks like. Like, this is insane. So I go out and just Twitter. I find a picture of like what I was seeing in my head, and I go to like 90,000 or 80,000 followers. Like, I had a dream that I bought a property in the Catskills, and I'm going to manifest that this happens in 2023. Within an hour, I get a direct message on Instagram on a different platform, and this guy goes, hey man, there's a boutique hotel for sale. It's they haven't like fully brought it onto the market yet. It's listed at $2 million. I think you could run it kind of like an Airbnb. It's not overly big, 6-7 units. And check it out. I open up the brochure, and it was like, that's what I saw in my dream.
Mm.
I literally saw this in a dream. I'm in a financial position to where I can acquire a $2 million asset pretty much all day long.
You manifested it.
I manifested it. And so I flew out that next day, called the real estate agent, meet with the owner. I go, why are you selling this thing, man? And when I walked in there, the first people I thought of were my grandparents and my dad, and camping and growing up and being in the forest. I hadn't been connected with nature like that in a long time since being a kid. And I was out in the sticks, and I go, this is the most beautiful and amazing place that I've been in years. I got to know what's going on here. There was two dudes that were in New York City they were in the bar and restaurant industry. When COVID happened, they wanted to kind of get out of the city. They found this old chicken coop, and that's what it was, chicken coop on a couple acres, and they turned it into a boutique hotel. Full service restaurant, farm to table, bar, they have a pool, golf, like you name it. It's just this badass, cozy, dogs welcome, like it's a vibe up there. And I go and unfortunately, one of the owners died in a drunk driving accident that month before. And he said, I'm not going to sell this to anybody that Heath wouldn't have approved of. And he goes, we sit there and we had a couple glasses to drink and some food got brought out and we're telling stories. And he goes, and he just started crying. He goes, man, if Heath was here, I know for a fact he would have just given me the green light and say, this is the guy that's meant to take over this hotel. And at that point, we settled on a little bit less than $2 million. I think like $1.75 or $1.8 million on the property. Put 20% down, and got a hotel up there.
Mm.
So,
Dude, congrats, bro.
Thank you.
That's definitely something to be like. You just said this, and it really like resonated with me. You said your grandparents, they understand. Hey, hotel, you're a hotel owner now. They're proud of you. They see the growth. They see all the progress that you've been making. And I think often as real estate investors and entrepreneurs, as business owners, we get so used to like resetting the bar,
right?
That like each
we're
new
competing
level
with Grant.
Yeah, each new level is like, okay, this is the new baseline, right? And we think it's normal, but in all reality, like it's not normal. And so I'm guilty of this myself, to where I don't ever do this, and I should do this. I don't ever like sit back and just like enjoy and be like, wow, like think how differently my life is today versus a year ago versus 2 years ago versus 3 years ago. I don't do that enough. And every now and then I'm reminded, and people tell me all the time, "I see all the growth," and I'm sure you get this all the time too. But I don't sit back and actually enjoy it because we're so addicted to the growth. We're so addicted to the grind, the hustle. And once we achieve one milestone, it's like, okay, what's the next one, And then it's like, what's the next one? And so I say all this and that. I think it's important to step back and reflect as we go into the end of the year. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like, hey, I'm going to take a couple weeks for the holidays. Yeah, like fucking take a couple weeks. Reflect. Think about all the things that you did right. Think about all the things that you did wrong. Think about all the growth that you've, accomplished over the last year or 2 years, 3 years. So congrats on the hotel, dude.
Thank
That's
you.
fucking huge, man.
Thank you.
How is that deal operating thus far? And because like doing the Airbnb thing, I was doing Airbnb multifamily before. And so getting the hotel game, like, did that change anything for you in terms of perspective? What did that feel like for you?
Yeah, I think that from perspective, the things that I noticed were it's more intense of an operation than, well,
Than a single family.
than single family. I mean, it's just different because now you have staff. I have a restaurant. We have to update the menus. I have to have an operator that either lives on premises, which he does, or, lives close by. It's more expensive for a lot of the stuff, right? The licenses, I mean, a liquor license took a year and provisionals and stuff like that. Insurance is expensive. There's pros and cons. The pros are, I own a fucking hotel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of cool things that come with that. And I haven't maximized it yet because it's basically doing about 15% better now that I've taken over than it was when I purchased it. But it can do so much better, and I know what it needs to be done to do it. The problem is recently I've just had so much. When you have a lot of things going on and there's a lot of higher leverage like plays to be made, me making an extra $4,000 to $7,000 a month in revenue or even profit in this business, and the amount of time that it's going to take me to put the people in place, set up the SOPs, figure out what our game plan is, wedding venue, here's our contractors, all that shit to make that money. When there's a play that's over here that's like, here's 6 figures a month. I just it's just a time thing. So I don't know. It's put some things into perspective, but I could definitely see myself acquiring more of them. In fact, it's really started to open my eyes up to experiential hospitality, more so than boutique hotels. I think that's probably the direction that I'll end up in, because I didn't get to like grow up, we stayed at the Holiday Inn all the time. You know what I mean? Or the Motel 6 or the Radisson, or it didn't matter. Like that, we just stayed at the cheapest hotels. The two things that have changed when I started making money were not having to worry about eating good food all the time, whether it's going to the farmer's market and buying $500 of steaks to put in the freezer or going out to a nice meal whenever I want to. That's a luxury that I enjoy now that even gives my mom and dad anxiety still, but like I enjoy that. And the second thing is staying in nice places and experiencing like real nice experiences, true hospitality, because it gives me perspective to like, how do I want to give back in my hospitality business? But more importantly, it is this luxury that most people like don't get to experience. And I want to experience it more and show it to other people as well. So there's so many cool things that you can do and build and show people and make a lot of money with it. And I see the market going in that direction. So I'll likely do that.
Yeah, it's the direction everything's going. So whether it's a boutique hotel, it's like, it's got to be some sort of experience. It's got to be a unique play. I mean, look at all the restaurants that are trending right now, whether it's Newport Beach, Huntington, where you live, or it's down here in San Diego, Little Italy, which is the neighborhood this podcast studio is located in. All the restaurants, the trendiest ones, are going experience. These are not chains. They're not franchises. This is the experience, and that's the direction everything's going. Same thing with the boutique hotel. It's got to be something that's eye-catching. It's got to be wow factor. It can't be cookie cutter. And so I had Isaac French on, Ben Wolf on, Travis Chambers on. They're doing these fucking unique stays.
Those are the guys.
Modern Traveler, like Travis Chambers doing some fucking off-the-wall shit, like Star Wars stuff
Vikings.
Out in Utah. Like weird shit, but like
it's working.
It's working, right? And so this is the era that we live in, right? I had a demographer on my old podcast. He wrote the book Big Shifts Ahead.
Demographer.
A demographer is someone that studies generations and he studies demographic shifts.
Whoa.
And so he went and studied like every generation based on the decade they were born. And so he would say, like, if you were born in the 40s, he called them the savers, because the people born in the 40s grew up watching their parents get rocked by the Great Depression. And so people in the 40s, if you're born in the 40s, all those people know how to save their money, and they're terrified to take any risk. And he labeled people that were born in the 80s and the 90s as like the sharers, because they value going and experiencing new things and then sharing it with all their friends on social media. That's how they get validation, right? And so with the people that were born in the 80s and 90s kind of like moving into the bulk of the bell curve in terms of the economy,
Right.
with disposable income, that's why we're seeing all these Chili's, the Applebee's, all these, the Sizzlers, all the outdated chain restaurants completely like going under, because no one wants to stay there anymore. They want to go to these new experiences. And so often you'll see these new restaurants here in trendy neighborhoods, to where if a restaurant group has some success, and I'm friends with some of these good restaurant operators, if they have success with one restaurant, they will open another restaurant down the street, but it will have a completely different branding, a completely different name, a completely different theme, and a different ambiance.
So they know that works there.
Yes, and it's a different menu. And so people go into this other restaurant, and they have no idea it's the same ownership group.
Right. Who's the group in San Diego that has, and they've got like 4 or 5 just badass spots.
Yeah, Custodian Holdings has like a lot of banger spots. Born and Raised, Ironside.
Yeah.
They just did the Lafayette Hotel. They're getting in the hotel space right now, which is pretty cool. But Custodian Holdings is one of the groups.
Their stuff's kick ass.
Yeah, and then there's another. I'm drawing a blank. I had him on the podcast, but he owns Urban Wood down here in Little Italy. Anime, which is really good. He just opened up another one in La Jolla. He's on Top Chef. Brian Malarkey. He's on Top Chef, Food Network. But anyways, Brian crushes it in the restaurant game. And restaurant's hard to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about industry I never want to get into. I mean,
margins.
You're doing, it's very, very low margins. Yeah, at a good restaurant, it's going to do very low margins. Most of them lose money and ultimately don't make it. But the ones that figure out how to make it, like they know how to repeat the process. And so he's one of them. But he's been hitting me up. He's like, dude, let's partner on a hotel deal. He's like, I'll bring the restaurant portion.
Badass.
You do the hotel portion. Let's do something bigger, like a Pendry type of thing. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I don't know.
Cool.
I digress. What were we talking about before the restaurant stuff? We were making a point. Oh, people want the modern travelers, the people in our generation that are spending the money right now. They want the experiential stays. You've seen it with the restaurants, not with the hotels. And so the days of the Chili's, the Applebee's, the Sizzlers, those days are over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I want to switch gears here. You have a bunch of viral videos on your Instagram, TikTok that have a ton of views. And so I'm going to go down and rip on some of these topics. I want to get your understanding of what these things mean. So number one, moving in with your parents in your 20s is a superpower. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Moving in with your parents in your 20s is a superpower. It's a hand up, not a hand out. That's what I think. It's a step up, not a step down. So when I graduated college, I had my MBA. Like, it should have been teed up to go make some good money, find a good job. COVID happened. I was in a position where I was embarrassed to, but I had I was embarrassed to move back in with my parents. And at the time, I didn't see it as an opportunity. It was like, I got to move back in with my parents. What am I, a little kid?
Yeah, you're taking a step backwards.
Taking
mentally.
a step backwards. Well, then I started building my businesses, my first business in particular. And I started social media, and it starts blowing up. And now I'm like, okay, my mom is helping out with food. Like, there's a hot meal every day. I know at dinner there's a hot meal. I'm in this room, and I'm locked down. Like, this is fantastic. And if I needed anything, if I needed a grocery run, or if I needed some clothes, or whatever it was, they were there to support. And even though I'm in this tiny bedroom, I was like, look at this opportunity that I have to save every single dollar that I have, invest every single dollar after I've saved up enough and know where to put it, and be able to get not only myself, but like everybody out of this race that we're all in together as a family. My parents are not going to have to continue to work at their job. They don't want to. I'm going to be able to basically have enough assets to where I can fall back and not have to work ever again. And so I just looked at it. I looked at it through the wrong lens until I kind of got through that experience. And I go, man, that was the biggest opportunity ever. And the amount of people that used to shit on me, friends, everybody, because especially as people on social media, because I was already making millions of dollars and I owned 20 investment properties before I decided to move out of my parents' house and go rent. And this isn't a big house. It's like a little condo townhouse. So people are like, what the fuck? I thought you made all this money. I thought I'm like, stop pocket watching and watch and just wait until this move is done. Because on the other side of that is, number one, I don't care what your opinion is of me. And number two, watch what happens. Now both of my parents are retired. Now they work in my business. Even now, they're still like, why do you rent? My rent is, it's $7,500 a month for a 4-bedroom. I had 2 roommates. So I live exactly where I want to live. My expenses are a couple $1,000s a month with food and with, where I'm living. And again, it's just like, I'm in my 20s, living expenses, keeping them low. And the best opportunity to do that was moving back in with my parents. So I tell people all the time, in your 20s, if you have the opportunity to, and you want to build a nest egg and have some money to play with, move back in with your parents if you can make it work. And if you're in your 30s, get a group of your friends together, get a spot, keep your expenses low, and start stacking that paper.
I like that. You mentioned rent. What are your thoughts on renting versus owning? Do you feel like it's better to rent where you live or to own where you live?
I debate.
Yeah.
I go back and forth.
Let's hear your opinion.
Now that I've become a real estate investor, I look at everything as opportunity cost. So me going and buying a $6 million house, parking $1.5 or $2 million into the walls of this property, and then having a, whatever it is, $25,000 mortgage. Obviously, these are big numbers, but I'm just saying, like, those would be the properties I'd be looking at. I go back and forth on, would rent be better there? Am I ready to go have a big 4 or 5 bedroom house? I'm just by myself right now. So I think it depends on the position that you're in your life and the price of the property and where you'd like to live. What I'd prefer to do is rent a primary for now that's inexpensive in the place that I'd like to live. And then what I'm looking to do is buy something out in like Temecula where it's like $1.5, $2 million. I can get 20 acres, a little farmhouse, build some cool shit that I can go visit, bring my family out to, have a little wellness retreat for myself, Airbnb it when I'm not staying there. Like, I'm looking at properties like assets, and every single time that I'm thinking about buying a big house, I'm like, I should just keep my expenses low. Like, I'm pretty happy right now. I don't need to go have a big mortgage.
Yeah. I was on Mikey Taylor's podcast recently, and he put out a video yesterday about renting versus owning. And I was just kind of giving my perspective. And my perspective is really like, for the most part, in most markets around the country right now, with the high interest rate environment, it is cheaper to rent than it is to own. Okay. So I gave my example of how I'm renting right now, and I'm saving about $8,000 a month versus had I had a mortgage. And then in addition to that, I'm saving the $300,000 down payment it would have cost me to get into this place. And that's an opportunity cost that now I can't invest that $300,000 into investment real estate that pays me every single month. And oh, by the way, has tax benefits. And I saw some of the comments, some of the people were like, oh, like I would never pay $140,000 a year and not own the place. But when I hear those kind of comments, I just realize I'm like, okay, this person doesn't understand how the game works, because it's so much more than just throwing away money on rent. One, it's cheaper than owning in a lot of cases right now with the high rate environment. But number two, there's so much leverage that I'm utilizing that a lot of people don't talk about by renting a nice place. So like I got a top floor high-rise apartment here, a penthouse apartment here in downtown San Diego. Yeah, people might say, okay, like $12,300 a month in rent. It sounds like a lot, but
it's more than
I'm utilizing so much fucking leverage with this place. So number one, there's no doubt that I don't get more eyeballs with social media marketing. I make more money because of it. But okay, well, how about the fact that I'm utilizing a lot of social capital leverage, right? I'm leveraging now an entire new network, right? And so I'm able to connect and collaborate with and network with folks that are also living in these penthouse units that are my neighbors, right? And some of these folks have become investors of mine. A lot of them are business owners. And so that's allowed me to level up my network, right? I'm in Fast Lane Drive, okay? I got an exotic car, got a supercar. Now I'm in Fast Lane Drive with hundreds of other business owners, people that are real estate developers, business owners, people that are making a lot more money than I am. And now I'm in this network. And so it's not just, hey, I'm saving $8,000 a month. I'm saving that $300,000 a month, a year down payment. But it allows me to network and connect with all these higher level people, all higher status people. And that is the biggest difference. And so when I hear these comments, I'm like, okay, this person doesn't know how the fucking game works.
And most importantly, you want to live there.
I want to live there.
There you go.
I want to live there.
I'm able to pull that shit out. Like everything else, like I agree with you on everything else that you said, but I go back to this all the time. You know those people that are like, well, you should just move to like Texas, and save the taxes, or move to Puerto Rico and you not pay any taxes.
It's thinking small.
I just don't want to fucking live there.
Yeah.
It's as simple as I want to live in Orange County,
Yeah.
California, and I like being close to Hawaii, where I like to travel, and this is where I want to live, and my family's close by. So why would I go make all this money to then go live in a Kansas or Oklahoma City or a Texas or a place that I don't want to live because I can save money? It's not about the fucking money. The money is the tool to get me to be able to live where I want to live, do what I want to do, and I'm not going to make my money and just go try and save it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense to me.
Live where you want to live. Life is short. And every time that I force myself to raise the bar in terms of like my quality of life, whether it's like getting the penthouse or driving the nice car or getting the boat, for example, a lot of people see that as a liability, as an expense. And yes, it is a liability. However, with the right perspective, you can leverage it to level up. So one, obviously we talked about marketing, we talked about social media, but if the boat, for example, now I'm leveraging to this whole community of other yacht owners, other wealthy, high net worth individuals. And this game is about being in the right rooms, right? I always say get in rooms where your dreams are others' realities is the quickest way to improve your life. And so now I'm hanging out with other yacht owners, people that have money, they're high net worth. And so I'm in these rooms of people that are thinking bigger than me, and it's going to allow me to make more money. And so it allows me to make more money. It makes me happy. It gets more eyeballs. It makes more money. Then like, is it really liability or is it an investment?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. 100%.
And that's the question that a lot of these people are not asking themselves.
100%.
Next one right here. This one's good. You've eaten the same thing every day for lunch and dinner. How many years have you done this? This is crazy to me. Why are you doing this?
I think I've done this, like, again, when I travel, it's a little different. It's harder to. But if I'm at home, I've eaten the same thing for lunch and for dinner every single day for years, probably 4 years now. I have ground beef or ground turkey, 1 pound of it for lunch with white rice, avocado, and a little Maldon salt. And for dinner, I do a 1 pound grass-fed, grass-finished ribeye with a sweet potato and some butter. Avocado if added in. That's it. That gets me, close to 200 grams or 100 and whatever, 80 grams of protein.
This is one meal?
That's the 2 meals. So
Two meals.
lunch is going to be like a pound of ground beef or a pound of turkey with white rice. It's like a homemade Chipotle bowl, I guess. And I call it the Blake bowl. Arugula. Dinner, always 1 pound of steak and the sweet potato. And it started because these autoimmune diseases, and I had to change my diet. And then I realized how impactful and important it is to have a diet, or how much of an impact your diet has on how you feel all day. Not feeling bloated, not having brain fog, having energy, all these things that I was able to play around with because I did an elimination diet and started reintroducing things one by one by one, and I could see how they actually felt. Eggs make me feel like shit. Milk makes me feel like shit. Steak, feel fine. Meat, feel fine. Chicken, feels good. I can do chicken for breakfast. I could do steak for lunch. Like, I'm cool with eating the same boring things every single day because it makes me feel so good. And at the end of the day, food is just energy. It's what works for me. My brain fog is gone. My energy is as high as it's ever been. And I attribute a lot of my health, how healthy I am now compared to where I was, to my food that I eat.
How do you cook the steak?
Medium. And I cook it on a grill or my grill's been shoddy lately, so I've been having to take it to the stove. But I need a new
Stovetop,
grill.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm a medium guy too. Born and raised right here is probably my favorite. But dude, I can resonate with you, man. When I eat like a red meat diet, a lot of steaks, my body it metabolizes it very well. I feel like I perform at my best when I'm eating red meat, high protein. I love all that good stuff. Okay, another question for you, man. This is another one that I've seen you put out content. 2 million views on Instagram, a lot more views on TikTok. This is how I make an extra $4,000 a month with a home that I don't even own.
Sure. So yeah, it's the concept that I've been teaching for years now, which is you can Airbnb a property. You can make money on Airbnb without owning a property. You don't need fantastic personal credit. You don't need a ton of money to start. And it's a legitimate business model that is fully legal. And this is why I love it so much is like, I have a lot of Airbnb properties that I own. They're amazing, and I'm super blessed to be in that position. But most people asking, how do I start, right? And co-hosting is really it's hard to go find somebody to co-host their properties. A lot of relationships, and there are like 300,000 plus properties on the market right now in the United States that are for rent. And so you can approach a landlord. You run the numbers first, but you can approach a landlord and say, hey, Would you allow me to sublease your property as a short-term or mid-term rental? I'll pay a little bit of extra rent. I'm covered by a $3 million insurance policy with Airbnb. And, chances are 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say no. 1 time out of 10 is all that you need for somebody to say yes. The rent of that property is maybe $3,000, but it can make $6,000 or $5,800 in revenue. You take that arbitrage number, that's why they call it rental arbitrage, that whatever it is, $2,800 in between, it's one property that you don't own, that you didn't need to buy. Maybe it cost you $10,000 to $15,000. You can even leverage business credit to fund the furnishing of that business. There's so many creative ways that you can get started with real estate and actually make a shitload of cash flow, start stacking these properties up. And it's not a long-term play. You're not doing this forever. You sign a 2-year lease. I got to a point where I don't even have any arbitrage properties anymore because it's not worth my time. I'm buying hotels and like big Airbnbs, but all of my followers are always asking, how can I get started? And this is how you get started. And so I've actually got a software that's coming out in 30 days for all of my students, and it's going to be completely internal. It's proprietary. It's only for me, but essentially me and my students. But essentially my students are going to be able to scan every property that's for rent in the United States. It's going to pull the data on it, all the contact information, and tell you exactly how much that property would make as a short-term rental, so that if you're a student of mine and you want to know how you can go, which properties are going to make money, you can reach out to that property in 2 seconds, the landlord, and pitch them on renting their property.
Yeah, rental arbitrage. Don't even need to own the real estate to make cash flow. All right, next up. This one's really good. You can make more money than a lawyer without a college degree. What do you mean by that?
I mean, you can make more money than a lawyer or a doctor without a college degree, and I've now seen it about 10,000 times over being in this online space that we're in. I've seen people, there's a guy that sells a course on pianos, like just piano lessons essentially. He has a YouTube funnel, sells this low ticket, medium ticket course, fully fulfilled by him, $2.8 million a month. $2.8 million a month.
And low ticket.
Low to medium ticket. He's got like 2 programs, I think. And zero fulfillment besides here it is, delivery. He's like, the difference is this. If you can become an expert in something or go prove that you can do something, like go do the fucking thing, go build the app, go get the property, do the fucking thing first. That's the missing piece for a lot of people, but you don't have to go to college to do the thing. You could go start a marketing agency. You could go be a copywriter. There's like a million different ways that doesn't have to be make money. In fact, let me give you another example. 2 of them. I've seen a chick that helps with postpartum depression that makes $600,000 a month. Okay. I've seen a husband and wife that were both divorced and remarried each other and found love that do $400,000 a month plus talking to divorcees, walking them through the process. And so essentially doing the thing doesn't necessarily mean going out and making money. Point being is like in the education, online course industry, things like that, everybody assumes that you had to have made money. Look at Dr. Pompa. Dr. Pompa, I mean, they've got a massive 9-figure business in the education space, I would say. He's basically took what he learned, from being a doctor and has told these people, hey, look, your body is inflamed. Let me help you with this inflammation, remove the mold, remove this, remove that, change your diet. Here's these natural ways to heal yourself. And they built a 9-figure business that has nothing to do with making money, only things to do with naturally healing yourself. And, did you need to go to school to be a doctor? I'm sure the name helps, but point being, there's a million ways to make quite a bit of money now that we're in the online space.
You can learn more listening to a podcast today than you will at a 4-year university. And everything is going podcast, and the numbers, I mean, look at the numbers. University enrollment is going down. Podcast listeners worldwide are going up. I mean, it's essentially doubling every single 5 years. 5 years ago, we had about 274 million podcast listeners worldwide. Today, we have about 510 million podcast listeners worldwide. It's undervalued attention, but it goes to show what you just said. You can learn more listening to a podcast, watching YouTube videos than you would going to a 4-year university. That's just the truth of it. And I'll take it a step further. When I take the boat out to Catalina and there's all these other yachts in there, there's 300 yachts all moored up in Catalina, Avalon in the middle of summer. Every single yacht owner in there, they're all either business owners or they're real estate investors. And so think about that. When you go to a 4-year university, you go to college, They teach you how to get a job. They teach you how to become an employee. But then if you really like just try to think about your dream life and reconstruct it backwards, it's like if you really like go that route, unless you become like a doctor, dentist, attorney that makes decent money, it's almost impossible to be one of those yacht owners in that harbor at Catalina Island. It's kind of crazy to think
That
about,
is
right?
crazy.
The only way to do it is really to become a business owner or to invest in real estate. I was at the Aguera coach dealership. My buddy Nolan is one of the guys there, and so I was there on Sunday. He was showing me all their like Rolls Royces, McLarens, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and there was a couple Bugattis there. I actually shot a video that I'm going to put out tonight, and two Bugattis. One was 3.5 million, the other Bugatti was 5 million, and I was like, hey Nolan, who are the types of people that buy these cars? And he was like, two people, business owners and real estate investors.
And you know the difference between, in my eyes at least, the difference between real estate investors and business owners and somebody who went to college and goes and gets a job, which again, there's nothing wrong with. It's
that.
just not for me. The difference is risk. It's risk appetite. It takes risk to start a business. It takes risk to take on debt to invest in real estate. It doesn't take risk to show up to your job that you fucking hate, to make $65,000 a year and have your, boss slap you on the ass and we'll see you in Vegas and here's your $10,000 bonus after 10 years. There's no risk there. So either stay in the pocket and don't play risky, or take calculated risks, do the thing, start the business, invest in real estate, and see where it ends up. And you know what? At the end of the day, especially for the younger guys out there that don't have family, they don't have husbands and wives, for the younger guys out there that don't have wives, that don't have kids, I'm like, take the fucking risk now, because it's going to get way worse when you're in your 40s, you got a wife and kids, and you're stuck at your job. Like, maybe I want to go start that business.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You said at the top of the show, most men die at 25 but aren't buried till they're 75. Shoot the shot, take the risk, ask the girl.
Yep.
The last thing you want to be is 80 years old, staring at the ceiling, kicking yourself because you never fucking tried anything in life. How about that risk?
Yep.
All right. Speaking of nice cars, you got a Rolls Royce calling in. Last time you were down here a year ago, I had the opportunity to go out, check it out, tour it. It's sick. It's got the orange interior. It pops. I was actually sitting in one on Sunday at the dealership, and my buddy Nolan was showing me all this stuff. He like pulled the umbrella out of the side door.
Yeah.
It's got the starry like ceiling. You push a button, and then the whole door is closed up. Like, it's sick. And then there was another button, like another feature he was showing me, like in the cockpit area. And then like that little badge on the hood, like kind of goes down.
The ornament.
That's pretty sick. So anyways, talk about why you bought this Rolls Royce Cullinan.
Yeah, I'm not a car person. At least I'm not a new car person. I really, really love my Ford Raptor. Best car I've ever owned, best truck I've ever owned. And I've always liked old Porsches, old cars. Like, it doesn't have to be expensive to me. I like vintage stuff. The problem was I was very new to making money. And I had started investing in real estate when I bought my first car, or my first Rolls Royce, my second one. And I didn't even know anything about Rolls Royces, but I knew that I had a massive tax problem at the end of the year. And when you get down to those last 10 or 15 days, again, this is probably not an experience that most people are going to be able to relate to, but like, I had 10, 15 days to like figure out how to spend a fuckload of money that was either going to go to the government or I could spend it on something. And so I bought a Rolls Royce Cullinan, and this was in like 2021 or early 2022 maybe. And I was able to, back then with Section 179, bonus depreciation was at 100%. So I was able to deduct essentially $450,000 from my taxable income and, save quite a bit. Basically, I saved my down payment on the car. So I looked at it like, okay, I got a free-ish car.
Yeah.
Like, I know people are always like, oh, here's how you get a free car. It's like, well, fucking still cost me $180,000 out of pocket. But I also made that back probably in 2 days just with social media. And then I got the second one, did the same thing. And now I probably won't keep buying them. Like, it's just a problem of like, when you start buying these things, if you go sell them, you got to recapture that tax. And
yeah,
I just hate playing the tax game. It's the worst.
No, I feel you. And I think that was for you or for anyone that has, the end of the year, you got some taxes. You're going to have a big tax bill. It comes down to, hey, do you want to give the money to the IRS, or would you want to like put it down on a vehicle or a piece of machinery that weighs over 6,000 pounds that's going to give you depreciation? And, oh, by the way, is going to help you get more eyeballs on social media, and you make that money back from a marketing perspective. So it makes sense. Same reason why people buy jets, private jets, all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, this time of year, any of these cars that qualify for code section 179, the dealerships know people are looking for DAX breaks, and so there's a little bit of markup this time of year, and rightfully so. This year, we're at 60%. Next year, it's maybe 40%. But had Carlton and Dennis on the hotel call yesterday. You know, he said that he's going to get an IRS tattoo somewhere on his body, an IRS tattoo, if 100% bonus depreciation does not come back next year. Kind of crazy, right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and he'll be at the party tomorrow night.
See him tomorrow, then.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's interesting to say. The other thing I'll mention is this about getting the nice cars is it kind of like, at least for me, I'm like, it changes my perspective in terms of like how I approach things. I just feel like I don't know, it's a different perspective. You take yourself a little bit more seriously, and then that becomes the new baseline. I don't know what it is.
Interesting.
And I think maybe part of it is because I'm in fast lane drive, and so it's put me into a different network. Okay. I'm not a big car guy either, right, but it's put me into a different network. And I'll give you an example. When I drive the Audi R8, which I would say is like I wouldn't even call it a supercar. I would call it like an intro level exotic car, but it's an Audi. Audi mass produces it. But I would call it like an intro level exotic car. And when I drive this thing around one circle, maybe like my high school friends, they might be like, holy shit, that's a fucking gnarly car, and get their video cameras out and be like, oh my God, let me take a photo. But then I go around this other group of like people that are driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, and Bugattis in like fast lane drive, right? And these guys are at a different level. I feel like in that group, I'm like driving a Honda Civic.
You're like taking the pictures.
Yeah. But it's perspective, right?
Is.
And then I'm inspired being around them because I'm like, holy fuck, like there's levels to the game, and there's always another level.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's definitely done that for me.
Interesting.
Least. Yeah,
like
it's interesting. Yeah. There's always levels of the game.
Yeah.
Anyways, dude, I appreciate you coming down, man. I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. I'm a big fan of everything you're doing, and excited for this new software to drop. Where can the folks get in touch with you? Where can the folks learn more about this software?
Yeah, sure. So just follow me on Instagram at Mr428, MR4URTOEIGHT. I try and respond to every DM myself. Try to. But yeah, I'm going to be posting about it. We're going to do a whole wait list and a good launch in the next, it'll come out in 30-ish, 35 days. So the wait list will drop next week. And I'm just excited to bring it to the market and continue to teach people, look, make some money, invest in what you want to do, build your business, and live a good, healthy life.
And I will see you tomorrow night at this holiday event, Black Tie holiday event. Excited for that. Carlton Dennis will be there. A lot of big players in the space are going to be there. Excited to reconnect and celebrate the end of the year with you. He's Blake Rocha. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.